I'd like to call the meeting of the Vail Charter School District, Vail Charter Schools Incorporated to order. Could we have a review of the minutes? Oh,
So I'll motion to approve the minutes.
motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Seconded. Any conversation, dialogue? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. I'd like to go ahead and move on to new business, the election of officers. Mr. Crew?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Buster. Just some additional background before the board votes on the officers, in case anybody's tuning in and wondering what this is. It's an annual necessity. The Vail School District has the Vail School District Incorporation, that allows us to operate a separate corporation that we have used in the past as a means to do some different types of financing for facilities and other creative necessities that we need to. Specifically, this was created out of the need to secure private financing for Savano Community School a long time ago, well over 10 years ago. We had to create a LLC to be able to do that. And to keep that LLC alive, it requires an annual vote of the board of directors for that LLC. That's what this is about. We don't currently have anything associated with this LLC. It's just a vehicle that we keep in the toolbox in case a need might arise in the future that an LLC is warranted, and we need to use that as a means to secure additional private financing at that time. So that's just kind of an overview of what this is about.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Cruz. With that, I'd like to gain a motion for the position of president. Could I have a motion?
I will motion to have Ed Buster serve as president.
I'll second that.
I accept. And with that, I will call for the vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any individual not in favor? All right, motion passes. And now I'd like to go ahead and call for the motion for the position of secretary of the Vail Charter Schools Incorporated. Can I have a motion, please?
I move that Janet Anderson be the secretary of the Vail School District Charter Schools.
Yep. We have a motion and a second. Any dialogue? Saying none, I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't see anybody not in favor. So with that, the motion passes. Congratulations to us both. There you go. Yeah.
Nothing like a good old fashioned volunteer.
So as the president of the Vail Charter Schools, I call for adjourning this meeting. So the meeting is so adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Buster.
My pleasure, Madam President. Yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to call this the meeting, our general meeting, to order at 7:15, and I would love to invite you to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next up, we have our approval of minutes from the regular board meeting on July 8th, 2025 as presented. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the board minutes.
A second.
Thank you. We have Mr. King and Mrs. Tippett. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. We'll move on to general functions. The first item is staff, student, and community recognitions. Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, President Tippett, members of the board. We don't have any special announcements this evening, but we do have a few recognitions, beginning with Mrs. Bates, followed by Mr. Breen.
Good evening, President Cruz and members of the board. We are excited to share some recognitions for our community programs team this evening. We had a tremendous success this year with our summer camp offerings for K-5. We served over 727 kids this summer, which is nearly 200 more than what we had anticipated, and also a significant increase from last summer. Our summer programs were under the leadership of the amazing Brittany Davis. She had this vision also this summer to expand offerings for middle school students. And so she partnered with Rich Booth, Jeff Ulfstall, I don't know how to say his last name, I apologize, I probably just butchered that, and Elizabeth Chesborough to offer middle school camps to kids. Things like video production, underwater robotics, and sports camp were offered to middle schoolers. It was a really cool partnership with Empire High School where kids in middle school got to get a preview to all of the CTE, a couple of the different CTE classes that we have. And so it was just really neat to bring summer programming to middle school kids in a way that helped to give them a preview to what's available in high school. A lot of times, Mr. Donaldson would share that high school students, they think they're super interested in something, and then they get to high school and they're enrolled in that class and they're like, oh wait, I want to do that other cool thing. And so this is really just giving kids an opportunity to preview things that they think that they like. And the kids absolutely loved what they were engaged in. And so I think it just further solidified that those are kind of some of the CTEs that they want to do when they pursue that in high school. So really cool partnership and really grateful for those connections that were made. And then we also heard some feedback from families that we were not anticipating, that middle school kids want full day camp, not just half day offerings. So we're going to curb what we're doing next time to make sure we're being responsive to that feedback. I know Ms. Tippett, I was surprised too, like, oh, okay, they want to be with us all day. Who would have thought that middle school kids want to hang out with us? Like, we'll do it. So we're going to expand offering this next fall break camp to try to do something more full day and meet people with that feedback. Lastly, I just want to recognize our incredible community programs team for their energy and commitment during Welcome Back Week. We spent 4 days together being hosted at Vail Christian Church, reviewing just our best practices, aligning our commitment to high quality early childhood education and care. And the dedication and enthusiasm of the staff set the tone for a strong school year. And it was just really cool to see their significant engagement and investment. We are off to a really great start. Thank you.
Mr. Breen, followed by Mr. Campos.
Good evening, President Pratt, Mr. Caruth, members of the board. I'm excited to share with you and do some recognitions for our technology team. As you know, we have a short summer here in Vail, and so many of our departments are very busy closing out one year and getting ready for another, and our department is no exception. So a lot of our team here at the district office was doing a lot of those types of things. One big one was really helping to get Saguaro Creek K-8 school ready. So I'd like to recognize Micah Jensen, Mark Mullins, our new STC there, Maggie Gamble, her mentor, Suzanne Brazel, Steve Lee, and Robin Klinger for really helping to get all of those things ready. And obviously that didn't just happen this summer. There was a lot of planning there in advance, but all of that got network and everything was ahead of schedule, and I'll say under budget too. But really proud about that going smoothly. I'd like to recognize also Janessa Weber for all of the work she does, our amazing executive assistant for the team, especially at the beginning of the year. She's processing literally millions of dollars worth of purchase orders to get hardware and software and everything that our teachers and students and staff need here, and just managing multiple projects we have going on. Rita Boyd and Brian Turner have been doing a lot of work for our Magic School AI rollout. And there's some exciting stuff happening at our schools now that they're helping with, and a lot of that planning and preparation happened over the summer. And our student data team, Norm Purdy, Esther Lubin, Veronica Preciado, Don Ball, Alex Lutton, and Robin Klinger helping out with that. They obviously do a lot just getting Power School ready and schedules and everything closed out from one year and ready for enrolling into the next year. And long overdue, I'd actually like to recognize John Nelson, the man in the back making the tech happen. He's been helping us, as you know, for a little while, and it's just been a huge help for myself and Micah Jensen to have him take the lead on a lot of that. So thank you, John, for being here every time. And finally, I just would like to honestly recognize really the rest of the team, including all the STCs. I won't name all the names right here. I'll make sure I include those in the notes. But just had thousands of new devices for students that we roll out every year, hundreds of new devices for teachers that we hand out at NTI, and our entire team helps with that. We have our district office team here, but then this year we made a little change where we have the site technology coordinators come during that NTI laptop distribution so that we could introduce them to their site tech that they were going to have at their site. And it was just really a great team effort getting all of those teachers set up and to be successful. Our tech team works really hard to make sure the principals can run schools without disruption, the teachers can start the day with working tech, and the students have access to seamless learning with their devices. So with over 15,000 students and 2,300 staff members, you can imagine this is no small task. But because this tech team is so dedicated, things are running smoothly, so smoothly that sometimes you don't really know it's happening. You can kind of overlook that. So I let them know, that I notice, others notice, and I'm really proud to lead and work alongside this wonderful team. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Breen. Mr. Campos.
All right. Good evening, President Brett, Superintendent Cruz, and members of the board. Well, welcome to a new school year. We had a great kickoff to our Monday last week, the first day of school. I want to thank Michelle Lindhart. It was hard for me. I was practicing and I had to ask Bates for spending some time with us. She got there about 7:30 and watched our arrival of all of our students. And then she said, well, what do you have to do after this? I'm like, well, we got a 9 o'clock first day assembly. And she was like, I'll stay around for that too. And I'm like, well, all right, come on. So we had Michelle come by the school, and we had Katie Dabney visit the school as well. So it's just great to see some folks on our campus walking around, seeing our kids and all of our teachers. And then I really just want to recognize all of our staff. We've had a fantastic pre-service week. We had a fantastic, first week of school, getting into this week as well. And we did some great hiring this summer. We hired a handful of former Vail students as parapros. We even got one 5th grade teacher who was an Acacia student. So that's really cool to see. And Linda Anderson and Scott Pepple were teachers who are still at Acacia right now. So she's like, those are my teachers. And I'm like, man, you guys been here a while. All right. But it's just really great to get our people, our Vail students, our Vail community inside of our schools now teaching the next generation. And they are so grateful what they got while they were in school. They want to give that to the next future Vail students. So it's really just great to see. And we just had just a really great start to our school year. So we want to keep that up. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. Have a few district-wide recognitions as well. There are a number of competitions and things going on this summer for students. This feels like the first board meeting where we really had a chance to recognize some of those folks since graduation. So I just want to take a moment to recognize Empire students. Lauren Wyrath was awarded the National Championship in Scenic Design for her design of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, in which she performed this past September. That happened in the theater competition, but for the scenic design portion of that. And then Empire photography student, Marissa Freeman finished 4th in the nation at Skills USA. So congratulations to those folks for pulling home national recognition. Micah Mountain High School also had national winners in culinary. Students Emma Kelly placed 3rd in leadership. Jake Chen and Juliet Osman were 8th in chapter in display. So just great work by our students participating in a variety of CTE programs. And then also the CTE conference is actually going on right now. The statewide conference is happening right now. I know it's been scrolling on the screen. I believe we've recognized that we knew that she was being awarded this distinction, but it happened actually today. Miss Amy De La O was given her recognition at the conference for being the Arizona CTE Teacher of the Year. So congratulations to all of them for their work. And I'd just like to step back and take a moment to acknowledge the work that's necessary to get a new school year started. I know I've communicated to our staff, I've communicated to you all in email, the incredibly smooth start to our school year. And we were talking about it in our leadership meeting today. It's almost hard for me to comprehend the complexity of work and coordination that it takes to put in motion over 15,500 pre-K through 12th grade students across 22 different schools, probably another 2 or 3 different kinds of programs on top of that, from hiring processing PARs, ensuring that classrooms are stocked with the necessities that they need to, ensuring that devices, technology devices are passed out and functional and work, to the training of staff, to making sure the classrooms are clean and ready to go, the buildings look nice, transportation routes are seamless. I can go on and on and on about the complexity of work necessary to make that happen. And yet to see last week unfold, we get the opportunity to do 2 first days of school to kick off K-8 and then, or actually pre-K-8 and then high school again in such a seamless fashion. I just don't take that for granted and want to acknowledge the amount of work that it takes by our staff to make that happen. There isn't a staff member that we have, 2,300 of them, that don't lean into making that process go. And it was incredibly smooth. There are so many indicators, one of them being, what Mr. Campos was describing at a campus level. I would go home about 5-ish or later on my weekday and see Mr. Campos' car still in the parking lot. I know the level of work that it takes over the summer to get a school ready. And that happened 22 different places to make that go across sites, with principals leading what they need to make happen. I can go on and on. Bottom line, I just want to acknowledge the work. And as I can't remember if I said this to you, I've said it many times. Oftentimes you look at a canary in the coal mine of an indicator of what the health of the system is, and transportation is a really good indicator of that. If transportation things are running smoothly, it's like you've got the basic details down. On Friday afternoon, after running over 50 routes for the very first time across all K-12, we had 1 bus that was running 15 minutes late. It was seamless. I mean, it was incredible. So I just want to acknowledge our staff who make first day of school possible, create an environment that screams to our families who walk through those gates for the first time, welcome, we're glad you're here. So we're off to a smooth start, and look forward to how that smooth start and sets the foundation for our school year. That's all we have for staff, student, community recognitions.
Thank you. Our next item is call to the public. I do have a request to address the governing board on items not on tonight's agenda from Ms. Jean Peglow.
President Allison Pratt. Oh, sorry.
Is it on the agenda or?
Well, she marked it out on the agenda, but okay.
Okay.
It is off topic from agenda.
Okay. Perfect.
President Allison Pratt, Superintendent John Caruth, members of the board, our Vail leadership. I came to you tonight because I wanted to share with you a little bit of my story that actually I'm not sure that I've shared with any of you. Sorry. You know that I'm passionate about special education and inclusive practices, and I have been for a long time. So when I was in Minneapolis Public Schools, I went to our director of special education, who was my supervisor, and I proposed to her a position because there was a number of families in our district that wanted to pull their kids out of the basement and ask them to come to general education classrooms. And I was passionate about being part of that project. And so I went to her and proposed a position. And she looked at me and she was like, Jean, it's a really great idea, but the timing isn't right. I said, okay, walked out of her office and went back to my position and kept going. And soon after that, we felt led to move to Arizona. And lo and behold, I opened up looking for jobs. And the first thing that I saw was an inclusion specialist in the Vail School District. And line by line, the job description matched the job description that I had offered my director of SPED in Minneapolis Public Schools. And I knew that Vail was the place that I was supposed to be. So I came into Vail. I didn't know how to do inclusive practices. It was something that I passionately wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to co-teach, didn't have the opportunity, and Vail has afforded me all of those things. Our district has poured into me and filled every desire and passion that I've had in the depths of my heart. It is due to all of you guys and every one of you guys. And I truly am grateful and thankful for the support that we've had. You guys as a governing board have been at all of our events at Pantano. You've been there helping kids get food bags and sent sensory toys to me in the mail. It's you guys are just absolutely the best, and you are such incredible community members, and we all feel that support. And we really truly want to say thank you. And to the leadership, you guys are making a difference. You're leading, you're truly a lighthouse. People are watching you. I'm at school and they said, why don't you call your people at Vail? They can help you figure that out. You know what I do? I said, I got on my phone already in the last 2 days and called my people at Vail. Thank you for what you do. I'm really thankful that I'm able to go to a BT partner and that I still get to be part of the family. John, thank you, Mr. Kruth, for your leadership. Do really powerful things for kids and change the trajectory of their lives. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. You'll be missed. You're doing great things. Thank you. Our next item is an acknowledgement of public requests to speak on items on tonight's agenda. At this time, I don't have any requests under that section. So we're going to move on to correspondence and reports. Our first item is the superintendent's report. Mr. Pruitt.
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board. Just have one item. While we enjoyed a super smooth start to the school year across all of our schools and programs last week, I think for all of us who are involved in all staff, the new school year doesn't begin until that event concludes. It represents the opportunity to bring all of our staff together under one roof, celebrate milestones, set the tone for the year with some words of direction and where we're moving as a school district. Hopefully inspire everybody. And I think more than anything, all staff represents an opportunity to say we are one school district. We're not this segmentation of schools and departments. We're one culture, one organization. And so that event takes place next Monday. We're too large for any venue in the Vail School District, so this will be our third year at Centennial Hall, the U of A. And if we outgrow that, well, I'm not sure where we're going, but we'll figure that out. But that event is on Monday, beginning at 8:30. So just want to acknowledge that that's an off day for students. And so anybody listening, just note that that's why.
Thank you, Mr. Crew. Our next item is board reports. Are the board members wishing to make a report tonight? Mr. Bester.
I had the pleasure, even though I arrived late, to attend the Saguaro Creek K-8 school ribbon cutting ceremony, and it was phenomenal. I think the beauty of seeing a school come into its own from just that wide space of land, and seeing the leadership have that vision and that connection to what it's going to be, and the future generations that will populate and learn and grow and join the hallowed halls of education is a beautiful thing. But to see people on the campus and enjoying that space, and smiles, and young people and parents ingratiating all the work that the district and the community put into that structure that will be around for the next 100 years, hopefully even more. And all the young people, all of the educators, all the parents that get to enjoy that facility into perpetuity is just really a deep down beautiful thing. So I love being there, love to see that it's come into being, and it is a really phenomenal facility. And I feel the greatest amount of fortune for those young people, the first classes of young people and educators that get to walk those hallowed halls. That's really Outstanding. Beyond that, I did attend the ASBA Policy Super User Webinar, Elevate Your Expertise, and that was really great. And the ASBA 2025 Legislative Wrap-Up Webinar. And really appreciate ASBA putting on those webinars so that I look at it as distance learning, gaining that learning for school board members that may not be able to meet in person, but want to gain information about policy and key factors affecting not only schools, but school districts throughout Arizona. So that is it.
Mr. Buster. Are there any other board reports? Mr. King?
Thank you. Just like everybody else, I attended the ribbon cutting at Sawyer Creek K8, and it's almost a little bit interesting for me because I took part in the planning committee and actually got to see that go from, back of the napkin concept idea to, going through all the meetings and everything else, and working with, Kevin and John and, as well as many community members who got to know throughout the, the last, seems like 2-year process. So it was actually really cool to see it go from, a concept, right? An idea, to, steel and stone. And then getting to see all the kids come together, as well as the community come together with the contractors, the builders who built it, and not just those who, put the sweat equity into it, but those who actually put the mental equity into it as well. So that was actually kind of cool. So on top of that, after finishing NTI a couple weeks ago, going to those couple days, I actually came back in here and reviewed the 3 AP biology textbooks. That was a lot of fun. So, but I actually got to see that and talk to Tori, and I asked her how many people have actually come in to review textbooks, and she's like, in 13 years, you're the first person. So, if we're looking to have people come in and review the textbooks, here's an opportunity for them to do that. As well as Friday, I got to attend the 25th anniversary grand opening of Cienega. So that was actually a lot of fun too. We piled cupcakes that were donated from Safeway and into 3 vehicles. So it was actually, we got a lot of cupcakes. There was some water there, but we got to see the kids, and the news came out. It was actually really kind of cool to see and to be part of that celebration there with all the kids and the staff. So
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. King. Any others? I just have a couple of comments about the ribbon cutting at Sawyer Creek. I also attended, and it was a great ceremony. I thought it was really fun to see from my perspective on the stage. As the event was going on, there was just lines of people, it was just a steady stream of people coming in. And I was thinking, I'm not sure how many more people can fit in this room. But it was just so amazing to see all the families that are going to be impacted by that school. And I also loved seeing the contractors and the people who were working on the building of the school see all the kids and the families and how excited they were. And I just thought, such a great event, such a wonderful thing to be able to provide our families. So I wish them all the very, very best. I also picked up my son and some friends at 2 different high schools for freshman orientation. And it was literally the best thing I've done in at least 6 months. Listening to these 14-year-old boys have conversations among themselves from the high schools to our house. I was almost crying. I was laughing so hard. Just hearing about their experiences. These kids are excited. They're a little nervous for high school, and they felt so welcome. I love what you said about welcome. We're glad you're here. That's exactly what these kids felt. They were just so excited at freshman orientation. So I just want to acknowledge everybody who had a part in that for each of the high schools. And that's all I have. So if there's no other board reports, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed below are consent matters and will be considered by one motion at this time. There'll be no discussion of consent items. Any board member may remove an item from the consent agenda by request. All items not accepted and approved as part of the consent agenda will be considered individually. Are there any board members who wish to pull an item? Did we decide who's pulling jeans?
Thought about it.
Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board. It's recommended that the Vail School District Governing Board approve all items on the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion.
Make a motion to
as
approve.
presented.
Mr. King finished it, so we're gonna go Mr. King, seconded by Mr. Bester. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. We'll move on to new business. Our first item is teaching and learning update. This is an informed item, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board. We spent a study session going over a deep dive into this and what were our focuses in regard to teaching and learning, and just some academic progress updates. So I wanted to provide an opportunity for Mr. Hurley to give an overview of that same presentation in the regular meeting agenda. Mr. Hurley.
President Pratt, Superintendent Cruz. I struggle with technology here for a second. Can you just a moment? There we go.
This is technically your first time presenting as in your new position,
Oh.
so. So hopefully you're nervous and, there's like obviously problems that have to happen.
And no matter how many times I present in any position, I'm still of the age where technology is not always my friend. So here we go. All right. Really excited to get to share with you guys tonight, just kind of an update on teaching and learning and where we're at. We went through this in detail previously, so I'll share some new information, but we'll go through it a whole lot quicker this time, I promise. Our objectives are to figure out just what is the current status, where are we at right now with student academic outcomes, what do we believe contributed to our status, and what is our plans to support instruction and learning moving forward. So it's really important that things are still healthy. We anticipate just as many A's as last year. 2025 scores are not significantly really any different than our 2024 scores. It's pretty static, and there are definitely areas that we want to improve on or focus and improve on, and excited to help people improve on. Current status, it's frozen on mine. There we go. Here's our current status. This is 3rd through 8th grade math percent students proficient on the state test. So you can see, it's 20 to 25 above state average, which is good. Those are things that we like to see. Historically, those numbers have been a little bit higher above state average. So we would like to get back to those things, but it's important to acknowledge that kids are still getting a great education here. We're still doing way far above state average in math and in English. All right, we are the ones in red there. So again, it's one of those things where we are still doing great things. I can remember the scores when I first taught here where we were below state average, right? And none of us thought that our students should get something that was less than state average. So it's good to see that we're there, but we definitely want to acknowledge that we want them to increase. We want them to be higher. We want our kids to be better than better. We want them to be as great as they can possibly be, right? So this is where we are currently at. High school is a little bit different. We give the ACT test. Percent proficient is really kind of nonsensical because that's not what that test was designed to be. So this is really just a numerical comparison of how our students scored on the math test, a couple points higher. A reminder that to be deemed college ready, because the ACT test is just a test of college readiness, a student needs to score a 22 on math. That would mean they had 75% chance of getting a C or better in college algebra and a 50% chance of getting a B or better. And so our average kid, their junior year is almost at college ready, which is really, really pretty good. In ELA, that score is actually 20. So our average kid at the end of their junior year is deemed college ready by what ACT would say. So they're really good scores. We talked about before, though, that the ACT test is really not necessarily an indication of what's happening in algebra and chemistry, but it's really an important thing that colleges look at, and it's our state assessment. And so we have adjusted our sails to give our kids a chance to show what they know on that test. We don't stop teaching Algebra 2 and geometry so the kids can do it, but we want them to have a fair chance. I usually give the analogy of all the kids that run the 2 mile in track should also run cross country, but we need to let them run in dirt and run on hills and run in the water and run in washes, or they're not really ready for cross country. And so the ACT is Algebra 2 and chemistry, but it's just a little bit different. So we have to give kids a chance to practice that. Okay, what do we believe contributed to our scores kind of being where they are right now? And I think it's time to just be honest and say that we didn't fully understand the impact that the pandemic was going to have on our kids' education or on our instructional system, to be honest. I don't think anybody knew. People took guesses, and in hindsight, some people's guesses were just better than ours. What we realized from our hindsight view is that while we were continuing as if our students were closer to where they were pre-pandemic than they really were, had we not realized that, we would have actually spent much more time focusing on fundamentals, focusing on the basics, and focusing on addition and subtraction and phonics and multiplication and those things. We did do some really good things. Our character education, our relationship focus, we are much better at English language learning service than we used to be. You can read lots of articles of people falling off the COVID cliff because their funding ran short. We had none of that. So we did lots of good things, but instructionally, we did not focus on the fundamentals the way we should have in hindsight. And so focusing on the fundamentals, what does that look like? We've had the same instructional pyramid here for, I don't know, 15 years. It had very, very small changes. The bottom, those bricks, it's the culture. If you don't have good culture, you don't have a good foundation to your house, you're not in a good start. So we've got to start with culture. And then these are at the bottom of the pyramid on purpose because they're most important. You have to have good classroom management. You have to be able to get the kids to follow routines and procedures and get them to get up and have shoulder partners, but then get back down and be able to sit and to be able to put their papers away without distracting their friends or know the routines. And so those are things we have to work on first. And then we have to work on our essential elements of instruction, which are ways that teachers can ensure research-based practices that kids get the best education they can, right? They have an anticipatory set to think about what they're going to learning. They are teaching to an objective, so everyone knows what the point of today is. They have a chance to have some direct instruction. They have a chance to do some practice with their partners. They do some closure at the end so they can cement the learning into their heads, right? And then the next step up is balanced math and structured literacy, which was our attempts to tell people, like, these are the research best ways to teach math. These are the best ways to teach literacy. And so those are things that we need to just continue to focus on. Marzano strategies we talked about earlier, which are research proven, rank ordered best ways to implant learning in kids' heads. And then if you've got all those things, it's really great to have cooperative learning, to have shoulder partners, to get up and walk around the room and to do those things. But if you have kids walking in the room and having shoulder partners and you don't have a way to get them back, you've got chaos. And so what we realized is this has been tried and true, and it's really just where we need to spend our time focusing. We spent a little bit of time focusing on the top of the pyramid. What's next? What could we do? How could we make things great? And what we really need to be focused on as we move forward is how do we get back to the fundamentals and the basics of teaching? Okay. What are we going to do to that? A couple of things we're going to do is one is we need to get to where we're using data to do things, not opinions, not thoughts, not beliefs, right? So we got the data to our schools earlier than we've ever had it before. By the end of June, every principal knew what their growth scores were going to be, what their proficiency scores were going to be, how their English language learning students did. They knew whether they got their science bonus points. And so they were able to use that to adjust their sales for the welcome back week. We've done some mini data digs. We're doing our full blown one about a month and a half earlier than we used to. And it's just because we really want people to be able to use data and not how I feel or how I think, because those are just not quantitative things that we want to be focusing on. So the other thing we're really excited about is to try to gather data for us, not just for the sites and not just autopsy data on what happened at the end, but leading indicator data. And so we're going to start walking classrooms. So the 10 people in our teaching and learning department are going to commit to walking one school per week for the year, at least 4 to 5 classrooms. If we do that, just in simple math, we'll see every teacher in the district by March. And we can use that data to say, this is the percentage of teachers who post an objective at the beginning of a lesson. If that number is high enough, then we'll know our instruction for teachers was received and people are implementing it. If that number is too low, then we'll think, I wonder if we need a better way to teach people the importance of posting lesson plans or having closure or having routines and procedures. So it's a way to get data to show how we can help as a system create better trainings, create better supports for teachers, because that's really where we need to have our focus. So because of that, we created an instructional support team. Myself, Kelly Pinkerton, Megan Nolan, and Justin Chesborough from Beyond Textbooks are just really laser focused. We're meeting every week on what it is that we can do to help instruction. Okay, we all know that teachers are coming in less likely to have had a full-blown teacher certification program, and so they need different supports than teachers that came in before. They're nice people. They're good. They've gone through our vetting process. They really want to be great, but Bob Marzano said there is an art and a science to teaching. So you need the science part sometimes too. You need the research, you need the fundamental skills, classroom management 101 that those of us that went to teacher school took so that we understand how to work on those things. So we're creating menus of all the trainings we have to offer. We're working with principals on creating a ticket system. Like we can put a ticket in to say, we need the light bulbs replaced. They can put a ticket in as a principal to say, I want a training on classroom management. Can you come to my site? Got 5 teachers that need a training on this. Can they collaborate with somebody else's? And we've also kind of set a goal, because it's one thing to say you're gonna do stuff. It's another thing to follow through. Last year, we gave just over 100 and some trainings throughout the whole year. And our goal this year is to give 100 trainings in the first semester. And so we're on pace to making that happen and really trying to get our departments to realize your job isn't to be here. Your job is to be out there training teachers, or to be here training teachers. So an example of that, you'll see the room across the way. We had every middle school English teacher here yesterday or today and did a full training on how to write lesson plans that are congruent to the objective. And tomorrow we'll have every middle school math teacher in here, how to write lesson plans that are congruent to the objective and how to make them with classroom management and how to do those things. So really just trying to offer more supports and trainings. We're finding people that want to be really good teachers. We need to give them the tools that can help get them there. And then we're doing some differentiation, not just at the sites, but with some sites specifically that have reached out and been interested in getting more thorough supports. So we're having some targeted supports at specific schools. We have 4 schools that signed up. We've done a 4-hour leadership retreat with their teacher leaders and their administrators. We create up with goals and action plans. We're going to walk every classroom in the school and gather data. And then from there, create instructional support so we can provide their sites and dates for follow-up and things that we can do to kind of make this at least a year-long support system where we're there helping them move the instructional needle. So that's a lot of the stuff that we're doing. I know we talked about it earlier. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions or comments? Mr. King, was that a, yeah, done? Okay. Mr. Tippett?
Something that I didn't really think about earlier when we were studying this is just, have we thought about like what the impact of the new cell phone law would be on like kind of that classroom management piece and some of those instructional things that we're trying to work on? And how is that going for staff to implement?
Great question, Mr. Bruton.
Yeah, thank you, President Pratt, Mrs. Tippett. Well, we actually are studying the policy in the later agenda item. I'll have Mr. Hurley elaborate more on the specific because they've been watching classrooms. Fundamentally, what I will say is the practices that our schools have had related to cell phone usage are the same practices that we'll have moving forward. So we were in compliance with the language of law really as it was written prior to being passed. So no cell phones to be out and used in elementary and middle schools. I think where we're tightening it up a little bit more is ensuring that cell phone usage is not happening at the high school level during classroom time. It's still allowed during passing periods and lunchtime, so which is also permissible in law. So I think it's just a matter of attending to that law. It was a matter of, I wouldn't say that is a large causal factor for just our need to go back to the basic, to our fundamental or instructional practices. Yeah. Mr. Lee, I mean,
yes, President Pratt, Superintendent Kruth, members of the board. What I would say, Mrs. Tippett, is in K-8, it's essentially business as usual. High schools, all of our high schools in one form or another over the last 2 years have started to implement a cell phones are a distraction policy. And so what they have found that they're excited about with the law change and with the board policy change, to be honest with you, is that there are some teeth to those things. And it's not now mean Mr. Hurley that says you shouldn't have your phone in class, which is this is a distraction. And when they were trying to implement those procedures, it became classroom management issues, it became discipline issues. And so I think they're excited to not have to fight that fight anymore. They should just be away, and I don't have to discuss with you whether you were using it to do a calculation or whether you're using it to do a quiz or whether you're using it to text somebody. It's just should be one less distraction. So they're hoping that it's going to make a positive impact on classroom management.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I just want to say thank you. I know that we studied this at length during our study session. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I love, like, that totally was like a light bulb moment to me when you were talking about the ticket idea for principals. I mean, that's exactly what this is. And so I think it is so helpful and so useful. And I also love exactly what you said. People want to be good teachers. Sometimes they may not know how. And so just giving them the resources that they need to be able to be exactly the teacher that they want to be. So thank you. We'll move on to our second agenda item under new business. This is the cafeteria manager job description. This is a study item, Mr. Group.
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board, Ms. Lenhart. I'm almost getting to the point where that's rolling off my tongue.
Good job.
I haven't come up with good nicknames around it though. We're working on that.
Thank you. Taking a little bit of time. This President Pratt, Mr. Caruth, members of the board. Tonight we have before you the cafeteria manager job description. This is a job description that is actually an item that we included in the amendment number 1 contract renewal that we have with Aramark, which is our food service management company. It is an addition that we included that the Department of Education has reviewed the contract. They approved it. It's brought before the board on June 10th and you approved it. And what we were asked is that because we have seen some issues over the past year with staffing at our schools, and it's causing some ripple effects with the flow of lunches and meals being served and just disruption at the school. What it states in the contract is that if there is a vacancy with the cafeteria manager at a school site, that Aramark would have 30 days to fill that position and would be fully trained and certified employee from Aramark. If they're unable to do that, then Vail would then take on that responsibility. And so we created this job description to be able to meet the needs. So that way, if we get to that point, we are able to post a position and fill this position. We've done some research on looking at compensation and the duties and responsibilities of this position. And it's pretty comparable with what we're seeing out in the industry. It is something I feel that as we start looking at the size and the operation of our child nutrition program, that having a manager at a school site would be beneficial to us should that arise during this year.
And just one other addition to that, the funding that if this position were needed is sourced through the isn't a direct impact to the district budget. It's all out of our food service budget and the reimbursements that we receive from that.
Perfect. Are there any comments or questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Actually, I just answered it. I'm good.
Nice. Mr. King, you're good?
And can I make one more
Yes,
clarification?
absolutely.
President Pat, Mr. Caruth, members of the board, if we are to move in this direction, we will go back and modify the contract that we have with Aramark at this point to make sure it reflects that change in their staffing and the fees that they charge.
Got it. Thank you. Oh, Mr. Benton.
Okay, this is the question that I have. When we fill this position, if the need arises for us to fill this position and somebody gets hired into that position, they're in that position as long as they perform well and do their position. It's not like the next school year, their job is in jeopardy or something like that.
Mr. Pruitt.
Ms. Lenhart.
President Pat, Mr. Caruth, members of the board, that would be correct, that we would maintain that position as a district position. And so we would want to continue to move forward. And actually, if we get into the situation where we need to fill a position, we'd actually hire 2 cafeteria managers, just because if somebody does want to take a time off, we want to make sure that position's filled, but it also gives us an opportunity to have 2 people in the district that will understand the operation from the school level and make sure that they can.
Thank you. Or did you have signed up? Do you have a follow-up? Okay.
I think it's fair to add, and I'll just state this, and Ms. Lenhart and primarily Ms. Lenhart, but also others in our staff are working really hard with Airmark to try and make sure that our food service is running very smoothly at the site level, in particular with site level leadership. And we're entered into a contract with Airmark. It's a 5-year contract with 1-year renewables. We're seeing some concerns. I think that's fair to state. And so this is assurance on our part that if those concerns, there's a persistence of those concerns, that we're still responsible for, at the end of the day, for ensuring that the food service delivery at schools is happening. I don't think there's any other way of stating that, but it's not a vote of no confidence or anything like that, but it's really a vote of this action. Proposed action is really some assurance to our sites that we're taking care of the needs, and really the children who rely on that service.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz, if there's no other comments or questions, we'll go to the next item. This is the Director of Food Services, also a job description, also a study item. Mr. Cruz.
Ms. Lenhart.
Mr. Booth, members of the board, we are bringing this Director of Food Service position for you tonight as a study item because based off the size of the Vail School District and the number of schools we have and the number of students we're serving, we've just come to a point where we really need to have a district employee present on a very regular basis in that child nutrition program. I try to do a lot of things from my office, but to truly be effective, get out there. Our participation rate right now is about 37%, which is very low. And we really need somebody out there that can be out there and advocate for the program, look at ways of making improvements to, and working alongside the food service management company. But truly being out there, being a voice, being able to take some corrective action, make improvements to our operation, provide some other services to our students, and be able to address some of the issues that we're currently seeing. Even if we didn't have issues that we're dealing with right now, we still are at a point where this is a position that's really necessary for us to be able to move forward and have somebody actively out of the schools. Currently right now, we do have 3 food service employees here at the district office, and I rely on them to go out to the schools and try to be as active as possible, but they also have their own roles, responsibilities here at the district level for the food service program to complete. And so we just at a point where it's important for us to be present at the school, to observe what's going on, be part of that management of the schools across the district.
This is also a study item and also would be funded out of the reimbursements for food service program.
Thank you. Comments or questions? Mr. King?
Thank you. For the next time the food service management contract comes up, will this person be one of the people who sits and does the evaluation of the proposed vendors?
Great question, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, President Pratt, Mrs. Lenhart.
With members of the board. So the contract that we are currently under right now has already been evaluated through an ARP process. It does have the ability to continue to do 1-year amendments. If we get to the point where we wanted to go out for an RFP again, this person would not be there just because would not be able to be on that evaluation committee just because they would be so involved with the operation and try to keep us separate, just like I do. I remove myself from those evaluations just because I'm involved with making sure I'm communicating with the current contractor and with the schools. We need to try to keep that conflict removed from the evaluation.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you so much for your work on this. I appreciate it. And I assume we'll see you again about this. Our next item is the ASBA policy advisories. This is 906. Through 908, this is also a study item, Mr. Crook.
Thank you, President Pratt, members of the board. We're seeing a number of the policies start to roll in that are resultant from legislative changes in the last legislative session. I've asked Mrs. Dabney to review them and go through them and then also provide a quick overview. This is a study item. Mrs. Dabney?
Yes, thank you, President Pratt, Mr. Cruz, the members of the board. So the first policy advisory 906, is kind of the big topic one, right? There's been a lot of talk about it, and there's been lots of news media coverage about it. But it's for policy IJNDB, use of technology, resources, instruction. And this is the cell phone policy. So really, as Mr. Cruz spoke about earlier, our current practices are really already in line with what the changes in statute and this policy expect. So one of the things that's important to us when we talk about the cell phone law and the cell phone policy is to really focus on the why of it. We don't want to be the cell phone police. Our sites don't want that. That's been something that our principals have expressed. And we agree with that, but it's important to talk about the why and the why with our students. Our K-8 schools have had a cell phone policy in place for many, many years where cell phones are in backpacks and turned off. They're not out, they're not used during the school day. Our high schools over the last couple of years, as Mr. Hurley had also shared, have been kind of working towards that. But we know, research is pretty clear on it now with the anxious generation, that students' well-being is negatively impacted by the social media posts and the likes and lack of likes and what that does to a student's brain when they're in that space. And so we know that limiting distractions, limiting kind of that access to social media during the school day so that instructional focus is at the forefront of their mind is important. So we really want to focus on the why with our students. And that's really the intent of this policy and the law. The policy uses language like limit. So it requires school districts to limit the use of personal wireless communication devices and access to social media during the school day, which is what we're already doing. And we are tightening that up at our high schools. So what that means basically at our high schools is that during class time, cell phones are either turned off and in backpacks or they're in a cell phone locker. Whatever procedure the school has in place, students aren't using them and they're not out on their desk and they're not being distracted by them. And really, we're doing that already. So all of those things are in place. Like I said, at our K-8 schools, those policies have been in place in many, many years. One of the areas that we're going to have to look at and probably fine tune a little bit is what that means for smartwatches. Again, the word that is the kind of the important word is to limit. So what does that mean? How are we going to approach that? And we have some conversations scheduled with our principals during our principals meetings to kind of go through those pieces. But in general terms, we're already abiding by this. And the policy really kind of speaks to that limit. And that's what we're doing. There are a couple expectations in the policy, which we're also already abiding by. One is that if a student has a medical need for their cell phone, so if they have a Dexcom device for type 1 diabetes, that students are able to have their cell phones for those reasons. The other is in a case of emergency. So if there's an emergency, students have access to their cell phones. One of the other exceptions in the law is that teachers can use it for educational purposes, but that's not something that we're doing because our students have school issued Chromebooks. So you don't need cell phones for that. So really, we're already practically doing what the law expects and what the policy expects. So it's a pretty minor adjustment for us. So that's the first policy. The second policy, really kind of minor adjustments for us too. Policy Advisory 907 is JLF, reporting of child abuse and child protection. Really, this change really speaks to who is a mandatory reporter in a school district. And I know Mr. King was involved in this legislation. Really what it means is that governing board members are also now mandatory reporters and substitute teachers. And so what that means is if there is a reasonable suspicion of abuse, as a mandatory reporter, we have a duty to report that. And there's training that we have for all of our staff. So really as mandatory reporters, our HR team would also train our governing board. And then our substitutes are already trained in mandatory reporting and our district staff is trained annually on that. So Again, very little practical changes for us, other than ensuring that our governing board is trained in what it means to be a mandatory reporter and that duty to report. So that is policy 907. And then policy 908 is JR student records. And again, this is something that we're already doing. So the changes in the law are specifically around student directory information and when districts can release that student directory information. There's kind of two parts to this. So parents have to be given the right to opt out of that student directory information being released for general student directory information, because student directory information includes a wide range of things. It's name, it's birthday, it's telephone number, addresses, it's graduation dates. So there's a whole list of things that are considered directory information. The big piece of that is that parents are given the option to opt out. Certain student directory information, which is very specific to student addresses, telephone numbers, or emails, for that information to be disclosed, parents have to have the right to opt in, not an opt out. And so our practice already covers both of those things. When parents register their students and when they complete the re-registration information every year through PowerSchool, there is the notice for directory information. And if you've completed your registration for your own child, you've seen this. There's a list where parents literally choose option 1 for the type of directory information that they're comfortable with releasing, option 2 for the type of information they're comfortable releasing, option 3, and option 4 if they don't want any of their information, their student directory information released. So that's already covered. So really, really minor changes in language, but it's things that we're already doing. So that really covers the 3 policies. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? No? Ms. Tibbet.
I just have a comment on the let's see, IJNDB, use of technology. Had the chance to have a conversation with my son about this change and set my expectation for him to comply with this change and anything that his instructors request of him. Would also like to extend that expectation to staff that when my child enters any classroom, it is the same expectation. If I'm going to enforce it, I need to know it's being enforced over here. And so don't undermine me and I won't undermine you, and we'll do this together and the kids win, because I really believe this policy is a good idea. And I think there's a lot of folks who are, using data and information now to say this is a good idea, and that'll help students. And so I think we can teamwork this. I'd love parents to teamwork this with us also. If mom and dad aren't on board with this policy, the chances of kiddo struggling with this policy is super high. So just love to see some unity around this policy.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? So my only comment is just just confirming what you said, that the board members that we're going to get I'm assuming a brief training on what this looks like and what this means for us, right? Okay.
Chalk up another study session.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll budget some minutes for you. Thank you. Appreciate it. We will move on to our last item within the new business. It's ASBA Delegate Assembly. This is an action item. Mr. Pruitt.
Actually, I believe this is a board item, so I'm going to throw it back to you.
Hey.
To Mrs. Pratt.
Yes.
Colin.
Sounds good. So this is the recommendation is listed in here. If somebody wants to make a recommendation, we can talk about it first though. So this is the delegate assembly that's at the Saturday after or to end the law conference. This is going to be September 6th in Phoenix. So we typically have to identify a delegate. and then an alternate to serve as our delegate for the assembly. So I know that we're all going to the law conference. I don't know if this is like a not it or somebody who, I know you can't, I know Chris would honestly be the first one, but he can't. You can't?
Yeah.
Anyone else? It's the three of us.
Really? This really could be a rock, paper, scissors.
Yes, it's true.
Real quick, so the recommendation is, because Ed is a member of the legislative committee, he cannot be the primary delegate, but he can be an alternate.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and I cannot be
Either. Oh,
a
you're
delegate
chairing it.
because I am the chair of the committee. Yes.
Okay. I mean, honestly, you can't do everything. Okay, so you can be an alternate if you desire. Does anybody have an interest?
Desire, are you willing to be the alternate?
Ms. Tippett, do you have any desire, like interest? I know that in the past you have done it before. Are you interested this year, or you kind of feel like, hey, I can't?
I've done it and I can. I have the availability. I know Saturdays can be difficult, so if somebody wants to jump in and is super excited about, yeah, a 4-hour meeting
I wasn't planning to stay until
on a
10,
Saturday
but
morning.
If someone else does it, I mean, I am here, but I am okay if someone else does it.
Do you have your hotel till Saturday? Do you know?
I did reserve till Saturday since I usually do the delegate assembly.
Okay.
So I'm set up, but we can adjust that.
I don't have a room that night.
It's like I would if that. Okay, I can do it if needed. I was planning on taking Logan to a soccer tournament, but if needed, I'd make adjustments. So if you would like to do it, I mean, if you're good to do it, that's perfect.
Mhm.
If not, I don't mind.
Jen already got a voluntold assignment today.
No, probably not doing much. So I was like,
That's true. You just make the recommendation.
No, no,
You can just
no,
make
no.
this easy and vote on this right this second. Ed, are you okay to be an alternate, or you would prefer? not?
are you going to be there?
I will be there, and I am fine to be the alternate. I have been in the past. I've studied under some expert tutelage, so I'm prepared to move forward.
Okay. Are you comfortable with that, Callie? You're good.
I don't make Kelly in it.
Okay, would you want to make the recommendation? You just gotta read it.
Okay, to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Wait, I
Just
just
starting with that.
just here? I don't think I have it. Is that on right?
Are you on the? Yeah, it's right here, the recommendation.
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
It's just right there.
That the Vail School District Governing Board appoint Kelly Tippett as its delegate and Ed Bester as its alternate to the assembly on September 6, 2025.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion.
I make a motion to accept that
Thank you.
recommendation.
Mr. King,
I'll second.
thank you. Mrs. Tippett, comments or questions? We had some good discussion.
It'll be the best 6 riveting hours of file on legislative discussion.
That's it, I'm out.
They don't serve lunch, so it cannot be 6. Okay, you're right, though. It is gonna be amazing. Okay, if there's no other comments, questions, concerns, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly
Yes, thank you, Kelly. Thank
And
you,
Ed.
Ed.
and Chris.
Yes, thank you, Chris. We appreciate you guys. The last agenda item is just adjournment, so I will accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll
at
motion.
8:19. Mrs. Anderson,
Seconded.
Mr. Bester, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any, the motion carries. Thank you. Have a good night.
It's noting that item had a little more enthusiasm than the previous item.
Yeah.